Well, hello, everybody. This is Jeff Morton with Let's Talk About It. My guest today is going to be Alan Collins of Financial Street Smarts. And we're going to jump into a pretty lengthy conversation with him today about why he does what he does and also the information. I have become a student of his seminars, or what would you call them? You don't call them seminars, right?
I do call them seminars.
Seminars, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm a student because all the years that I made a whole lot of money, I never really learned how to make that money work for me. And so I'm learning some things. Yes, you could teach an old dog a new trick, but I'm just now seeing that we're not going to broadcast on Rumble. I'll have to set the show up a little later. There's some kind of technical issue that's saying we're having trouble streaming to your destination. But I am live on Facebook and YouTube, and we've got a lot to cover. So we're going to jump right into it. Alan, welcome to my podcast. Let's talk about it.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Now, why don't you, for the first 2 minutes, just tell people a little bit about you and a little history.
Okay.
Give them a little background.
Well, I was born and raised here in Washington State.
Sorry.
Grew up around, what's that?
And said, I'm sorry.
Hey, it's a good thing, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, grew up around here, went to school around here. And then 2 years into college, I joined the Army. And so I was in the Army from 83 to 87 and was honorably discharged in 87. Came back I was in Germany for 2 years and down at Fort Benning, Georgia for 18 months, and then came back to Washington State, where I absolutely love it here. And then became after I got out of the service, I was going to enroll in college for physical therapy, and then things changed. I was working for UPS as a part-timer, became a driver, and then drove for UPS for 32 years.
32 years, man.
Yes,
Throwing
sir.
boxes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Then now what happened that caused you're married, you've got kids and
Yes. Yes.
all that stuff.
Yeah. In fact, those are the greatest things that have ever happened to me. Meeting my wife, amazing human being. She had a lot to do with my personal growth and whatnot. And then having children kind of raised my expectation as a man. I had somebody to provide for that was just not me and my wife when we were dual income, no kids. See. So, but yeah, having my firstborn was probably a very significant part of my maturing as a man.
Yeah. Now, your earlier years, you had a rough upbringing.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, I came up. I was born into my mom was going through their second divorce, and I call him my sperm donor. He left when I was 3 months old, so I never got to meet him. But anyways, we were born into poverty, welfare, economic outpatient care from other relatives, that sort of thing, and. So anyways, I saw that, and it was, there was a general attitude that money was the root of all evil, and that people that had it must have done something wrong to get it, and
Really?
but yeah. But in my mind, I thought, you know what, there's got to be a different way to this. There's got to be a different way of looking at it. And
so you UPS, you decided, I mean, how did you end up, what happened to cause you to start paying attention to money?
Well, having my firstborn. Having my daughter for the first time, my wife then became a stay-at-home mom. She was a flight attendant for Alaska Airlines. She then decided, because of my schedule at UPS, I was working several, 12-hour days and that sort of thing. So she became a stay-at-home mom, and I had to make one income work better than we make two incomes work. And so that was that was a big wake-up call.
How many kids did you have?
I have three.
You have 3 children.
Yep.
Grown
Kids. Yep. And so, anyways, so I just delved headfirst into what this money thing was. I delved into, what it means to spend money, what it means to invest money, what it means to manage money. And then, of course, my last 15 years at UPS, I got assigned a route that was to some of the richest people on their planet, and that was a huge eye-opening experience for me.
How so? I mean, what did rich people have to do with your...
Well, you know what? They weren't all evil. They had worked very hard. They were very smart with their money. A lot of, you've got to look at 75 to 80% of people are self-made millionaires in this country. It's not what people think. It's not inherited money.
I kind of agree with you.
Yeah. And so, these, they become friends of mine. These very wealthy people became very, good friends of mine. And they, of course, they imparted their wisdom onto me, and understanding, what about investing? What about real estate? All these different things. And so I just became very interested about what this money thing meant and how we become successful with it.
So you're done with UPS and you're doing what now?
Well, my wife encouraged me. I don't know if it would probably not be good for my marriage if I just, 56 years old when I retired from UPS. It probably wasn't good for me to be at home too much with my wife because she was used to be having me gone quite a bit. So anyway, she encouraged me to get my license as a realtor. And so I got my license back in 2020, right when COVID happened. And anyways, I became a realtor at that point. But I have had this financial coaching in my brewing in my system for probably since 2010, when it became really an ember within me.
Well, now I met you over at Ignite You 365, a network group here local here. And I would listen to you and I'm going, okay. I remember, folks, I was embarrassed to be, in a way, because I'm one of the successful ones in my family, and yet I didn't have anything. And so I was embarrassed to talk about it. I was embarrassed. I was a little ashamed to think of the situation that I'm in now today, having started owned restaurants and a plumbing company. And I mean, it's not like we're doing bad. We just weren't doing smart. And so as I was listening to you over there at the networking group, and it took me a little muster to come up to you and say, I've done this and I've done that. I actually had to face you about something. And I did.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
But the bottom line was, I realized, and I had to admit to myself, I really don't know how to make money work for me. You were the catalyst to cause me to start thinking that. My good friend James was down in Portland. He said, Jeff, you have to change your thinking. And then you said verbatim the same thing. Okay. So I approached Alan. I said, Alan, I need to tell you something that wasn't really totally true. And, but can you help me? And so I became one of your students. In fact, my mouth is drying out here. Alan does these seminars. This is the brochure that we got, packet of information. And in here, he's got several lessons to go through. If you're interested in that, we're going to be running his website across the screen for you to jot down. But I would encourage you, if you are a person who doesn't know how to make money work for yourself, this man right here has my faith, he has my trust, and I've already learned several things from you.
That's awesome.
So I'm reinvesting a few things right now because of you and because of what I'm learning from you. So thank you for that.
You are so welcome. Now, a lot of people, Jeff, can hear the same thing, and it'll be like static to them. So you have to be ready. You have to be ready. And when you're ready, what is that saying? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. It's very true.
Wow.
And and our shame and embarrassment and our egos seem to get in our own way, even when where we're at is not real comfortable. It's painful. We just don't seem to want to look at something differently.
And my wife and I went through a very difficult time last. I started this process in August, and sometimes I regret what I had to do, but for the reasons I did it, now I got to work it. So you popped up right on time to help me learn a new way to do things, and I'm actually really grateful for that. Now we have a list of stuff here that we're going to be kind of running through real quick. Alan is the philosophy of money. I'm just going to spit these out, and then you kind of respond, okay?
Okay.
You start here, you say money problems are everywhere and at every income level. It hurts me to see the problems caused by financial illiteracy and predatory lending. I believe America needs a strong and thriving middle class. Our young people especially need to have the same opportunity provided to them that were available to my generation and generation before me. I agree.
Absolutely.
Okay, yeah. So now you're saying the philosophy of money. What does
that
mean?
I think right now we have a really horrible relationship with debt, not only as a country, but individually as families, that sort of thing. Debt is your enemy. Consumer debt is just, it's more insult to injury. And so my motto is, in the streets, you want to keep your money close, but your debt even closer. Because debt is one of those things. I don't care if your income is a rowboat or if it's a ship. Debt is one of those things that will sink a rowboat as well as a ship. And so debt is, in most cases, is the enemy. So I think if you learn to keep debt at a minimum, I have debt on my house. That's about the only debt I can. And I can pay it off, but I have my loan. It's 2.5%, and so I can invest it other places and still keep liquidity and that sort of thing. So, but yeah, debt is your enemy.
Well, you're saying here, when it comes to managing money and achieving financial freedom, keep your money close and your debt even closer. What are some of the common challenges to doing that?
Well, our appetite. See, we are just encouraged constantly to consume. You know, we are in a consumer environment. Capitalism has turned into a consumerism based economy, and I think that we're both, both from our, consuming our money, which consume means to use up until gone. And so, anyways, there's several things on the internet. There's buy now, the shopping.
Buy now, pay later.
Yeah, exactly. Or buy now and the shopping, whatever they call it, the conspiracy. You've got the social dilemma. You've got these things that are definitely sending us strong messages that it's kind of insidious that we're meant to part with our money on so many levels when it's to our detriment. And then we go beyond our incomes and we go into debt, which is the path of least resistance. And the one-click thing that Amazon has available for us and everything else is really to our detriment.
Well, I mean, you said some things over the course of time since I've known you that made me really think about, the person sitting that's controlling your life. They're controlling your life because you handed it to them.
Yeah.
In the debt situation. And as long as you're going to hand your life to them, they're going to keep sending you offers.
Absolutely.
Okay, kind of explain that a little bit.
Well, there's algorithms on the internet that monitor everything that we do. If you look anywhere we go, whether it's on the computer, whether it's on the television, whether it's on our phones, we are being bombarded with buy, separate you from your money. And it's insidious. And what has happened is that the two biggest promoters of a legal drug, I call it, is dopamine. And dopamine is one of those neurotransmitters that basically is assigned to addiction. And basically what they're having us do is that every time we turn around, they're trying to get us to take a bite, to take the lures that they're throwing at us and then put us in debt for it. And then sooner or later, we find out we betrayed ourselves.
With the advertising, I'm realizing the advertising. Let's take Facebook, for example. On Facebook, we're the product.
Oh, yeah.
We are the product.
You're the commodity. Absolutely.
And so they sell us as we communicate back and forth. And I see people out there saying, well, I'm making pancakes this morning. And then the next thing you know, they're flooded with pancake ads. Yeah, but the minute they say pancake on their Facebook page, and I'm going, this is insidious.
Yeah.
And I started learning. When I started, I didn't have credit cards until 10 years. 10 years ago. I paid cash across the board.
Yeah.
Then when we bought this house and, my personal life kind of, long story short, my wife and I got back together. It was easier for me to do it that way, and all that debt's paid off. But I ended up with the credit cards, and I was like, okay, so now this is convenient.
That's convenient.
That's the wrong thinking.
Yes.
Okay. It's actually convenient, but it's going to suck the life out of you.
Absolutely. They create these paths of least resistance. It used to be, even in financial fitness or physical fitness, it used to be no pain, no gain, or short-term pain for long-term gain. We've reversed that. We've now made it short-term gain for the longer-term pain. And that's what credit has done for us. And even the word credit, I remember when I was in school, if I was struggling in a class and I get extra credit, that was a good thing. Credit's a wonderful thing. It's the debt that it morphs into after the 25-day grace period. That's when it becomes debt, and that's where it's not good.
Explain the 25. When you were talking about that in the class, I never thought about it like that.
The 25-day grace period is a time, they usually have it like the 5th to the 5th of each month or whatever. Anytime you charge within that period of time, you got free entry. You're not going to be charged interest. But on that 26th day, they're going to backtrace the interest from that point from the time you purchased it.
And
so it's compounded on a daily basis. And so it's just insidious how they've created us to, they've kind of conditioned us to use these credit cards, and they're not really seeing how much they are stealing out of our lives. It's just unreal.
That really hit me too, because there was a credit thing that I had. It's gone now. I paid it off, but 29%.
Oh.
So when that compounded,
I
was like, oh my God, this is, and oh God, don't have a late fee.
Oh, yeah.
because then you've got the interest and the late fee. And I'm like, this is,
Yeah.
and I started seeing how this hooks you in like a drug.
Yeah.
And I went, oh my God, I got to get out of this situation.
Yeah.
But as I'm learning from you now, they're feeding on us.
Absolutely. I try to, when I coach somebody and individuals and that sort of thing, I tell them the two economies. There's the economy, which is the one that is all the money's going from the lower bottom of the pyramid going up the pyramid because they're siphoning all the money upwards, and we're voluntarily doing it. And then there's your economy. I try to get people to master their economy so it doesn't matter what the economy is doing. No matter who's president or anything else, I help people with their economy so that they can weather any storms, whether, whatever's going outside of that, they can still be okay. And
well, I thought about this when you mentioned something earlier, 80%. If most Americans didn't have money, we would be a third world country.
Absolutely.
Okay? So we've got money.
Oh yeah, it's circulating.
There's
There's more money circulating now than ever in the history of mankind.
But the people like myself who didn't understand how they literally rip it out of your life, most of us don't know how to make that money work for us. Then how come so many of us have money, but we have so much debt?
Well, because we go beyond our incomes.
Everybody.
We go beyond our if we can have 2,000 calories to eat every day, we would not be fat if we didn't go beyond our allotted food calories that are allotted for us. We do the same thing with our money, and it's promoted that way. It's just promoted left and right, and so it's a system that we're in that is really, if you're not conscious of it, you're going to be a victim to it.
Well, I mean, I never really thought about all of this. I just figured, okay, I got this credit card. I got to pay this off before the end of the month. Okay. Well, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
So I got myself in that place. Okay. But the credit card debt right now, people right now, our nation is a credit card. It's a credit. We're in trouble.
Oh, our whole government, the whole United States, each one of us owe about $105,000. That includes our men, women, children, and babies.
Right.
When you're looking at $35 trillion of debt, that's what it equates to. And it's just ridiculous.
Somebody said it would take 700 years
of
every person paying over $10,000 a year just to even catch up.
It's crazy.
When you talk about budgeting tips.
Yeah, I think just like a diet, here's the thing. I don't call it a budget. I call it a spending plan. And the way I do that is because I'll sit down with people and, sometimes in my seminars or whatever, and we'll look at what their allotment is, what their incomes are, and then we figure out a spending plan. If you figure out a spending plan, you're going to be on board with that because you're choosing what to spend your money on. It may have limits to it because your income, you don't want to spend beyond your income, but it's going to be a different mindset because you go like, yeah, that's the things that I really want. You can cut away the things that you don't want, and you get to spend better and more effectively. And so I don't even call it a budget. I call it a spending plan.
So, okay. So when you put this whole thing together, these seminars,
yes,
because you realized what?
I've been fighting this for several years. I told you, I've been wanting to do this since 2010. And being at Ignite U was really amazing for me because it became a catalyst. There was people in there in Ignite U that really pushed me to launch this. I think we all experience inertia. We have an idea, just like we experience inertia with money. We know what we should be doing, but we don't do it because there's, like, I call them two suction cups on the backside of our butts that keep us in position. And we have to break through that in order to go to where we want to be. We're going to have to spend a lot of energy because that negative inertia is trying to keep us in place.
I was, because of what I do in my biblical work, I'm always trying to encourage the Christian to go back and look differently. I remember I was sitting up here since I met you, and after James came and spent the weekend with his two daughters, he's a widower now. And I remember sitting up here, and I was actually praying, and I heard kind of in my spirit, you need to do that with how you handle money too. You need to go back and learn, see things differently, because you need to learn a few things. And I remember thinking, okay, God, are you telling me that I need to apply that to the way I do money? And that was another reason why I went, okay, I got to get on board. I got to learn.
Is it interesting?
Now,
Yeah.
I'm in my 60s. I'm 65 years old. And, I don't know when my ticker is going to happen. But what can I do right now
Yeah.
to learn something different?
Yeah.
Not that my world is collapsing. I don't mean to say that, folks. But it's not good. Oh, by the way, you can help me by sponsoring the show or at least supporting what we do here, because that does help me. I pay for everything. Nobody really helps me out on all of this. But also, I have to work this into my budget and cut out some of the other things and take command of, what did you call it? Not budgeting.
Of your spending plan.
My spending plan has changed. And it already has.
Yeah.
It already has in the couple weeks that we've been doing this.
Yeah.
Because there's things that, not that I don't have a lot of money, folks. I'm just telling you right now. But there are things that I'm consciously aware of now.
You're shifting. You're
shifting.
Yeah.
You're shifting,
Yeah.
So do I need that? Or does that really matter? Or can I get by without it? Or all that kind of stuff is happening. It's front and center now. Let me put it that way.
That's good because it's becoming conscious. You're becoming resource conscious. You're becoming energy conscious. You're becoming aware of how insidious our habits become in time. And we're doing these things and they're detrimental to us. And you're becoming aware of that. And so you are the CFO of your life. And that is huge to take that ownership. I think one of the biggest things that I try to get people to understand is that, we grow up at a very early age. My granddaughter, 3.5 years old, she knows we need money. She knows you need money to go to the store and buy things and that sort of thing. But something happens when you take the onus upon you that money actually needs you. It needs you to be.
Yeah, explain that. You say that a lot.
Well, because you are the mind of money. Money has no hands, no feet. If I set down $1 million on your desk, that'd be awesome, wouldn't it? Anyways, it would do nothing. It has no arms, no hands, no feet. It has no brain. In fact, money gets blamed for so many different things that if money could talk, it'd say, listen, this ain't on me. This is on you. And, even I think it was one of the rap songs, More Money, More Problems.
Right.
Money would say, hey, how about more problems, no money? It's crazy how much we give an inanimate object power over us. Just like a credit card. A credit card cannot go charge itself. It has no arms, no feet. It has no. Money is a reflection of us and how we relate to it.
That was also something that you said, that these are things that I had not really thought about.
Yeah.
Money has no power.
No, what's even sadder is that our fiat currency, which it used to be backed by, gold and silver, now it's just backed by the good faith of the United States government. We're $36 trillion in debt. It's like, wow, I'm going to bet on that one.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, this is what this is the reality of, and not only that, but I try to get people to see their money is energy. We use our physical and mental energy to go earn money, which that is a form of kinetic energy and motion. And then we receive back money, which is a form of potential energy. And one of the things that we're missing about the law of energy is that it's neither created nor destroyed. It's transferred. It's conserved somehow. We're not doing the conserving part. And that's what you were talking about, making all this money. You did nothing to conserve that money so that it could be there into your future years and grow independently of you. And that's so important. That's one of the laws that I think that we miss, is getting money to go and work for us as hard as we're out working for it.
You also said something that triggered me too. I used to say that since I had the credit cards now, it dawned on me that I'm buying somebody's island.
At the interest rates that they charge, I mean, I hear these. I have never paid interest on a credit card in my whole life. So
Really?
I have no tolerance for that. I think it's just that's worse than a loan shark as far as I'm concerned. So, but 29%, you realize 29% on $1,000 is $290.
Right.
It's like, it's just, to me, it's like, yeah, and go deal with them. They probably charge you less interest.
Well, here's what happened to me, and this goes true to your point. I took out a loan to pay off some stuff, and it was like 3% or 4%. Okay,
that's a good interest rate. Yeah,
it was. Now this is what happened. I paid that off, and so I went, okay, a little down the road, let me get this here loan to take care of, buy something else. And I'm thinking 3%. Okay. It was 22%.
Yeah.
But I signed on it
Oh,
and I didn't realize it.
yeah.
That's gone now. That's all paid off. But I didn't realize that it wasn't the same interest rate that they were offering. I just assumed it was.
Yeah.
And they got me.
Yeah.
And it pissed me off when I saw it. I went, oh, you idiot.
Yeah. You know what? It's
But we
hard.
don't think about it.
Yeah. It's hard to trust. People misbehave around money all the time. That's why I became a financial coach. I'm like a, if you look at, you got sheep and you got wolves and you got sheepdogs. I'm kind of the sheepdog of the financial world.
Right.
I will protect and help my clients protect their resources as much as I would my own. And so a lot of times I've sat down with mortgage brokers, I've sat down with other stockbrokers and everything else, and they really don't like me because they know what I'm talking about. They know where I'm coming from, and they know that they have no rebuttal to what I say. And so I represent my clients independently. I don't work for a corporation that you have to follow the money trail. It goes to the corporation, then it comes to me. The corporation comes first, then it comes to me. You're actually the tertiary person in position to be benefit from it.
Well, that's why I didn't do some of the other options that I had.
Yeah.
I wanted a financial coach
Yeah.
when I found out there was financial coaches. Okay.
Yeah.
So doing the other thing, here's what I was thinking. Okay. Why should I pay the company you work for a bunch of money to have you tell me how to make hardly no money in a life insurance policy?
Yeah.
So I went, okay, that's not going to work for me.
Yeah.
And you were the reason for that too, to be
Wow.
honest. You made me start thinking about what they're, nothing bad about the people that approached me.
No.
It's just that they were trying to do their job. And I realized it's like insurance. I hate insurance. You know,
It's a necessary evil.
insurance to me is loan sharking on steroids. But you have to have it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I stopped thinking, I stopped listening to that
Mm-hmm.
because I realized I don't need another bill. I don't need another bill
No.
to try to it's just all of the mechanics of what they were offering me. Well, if I had done that 60 years ago, no problem. I didn't do that 60 years ago.
Right.
As a business owner, I didn't put money aside. I
Mhm.
bought property. Okay.
Right.
Well, I didn't figure I'd lose all of that.
Mm.
Now, here's the deal. Investing advice. Well, you got a bunch of topics there. We're never going to cover all of
That's
this.
true. We won't.
You got debt management. What does that mean?
Debt management is number one, stop debting. That's a gerund phrase, an active of a noun, an action of a noun that you're actually doing that. Stop debting and quit putting yourself into future payments to have things that are short term that, you know, are you going to receive? You're going to receive in the short term. It's like the idea of wanting something is more exciting than the actual of owning it. And what happens, the more debt that we take and the more payments that we take, and we are promising our future energy and our future money for stuff that we may not even want anymore, but yet it keeps coming and it burdens us. And so debt management is, you know, stop debting. Don't look at debt. Don't go. That's the path of least resistance. And that's exactly what the bankers and everybody else wants you to do, is travel the path of least resistance. And so they set the path and you take it and then you end up in debt. And so debt management, if you're already in debt, my idea is to just start going after the highest interest rate. I know, like Dave Ramsey talks about the snowball and the avalanche. Well, I'm more about the avalanche because that's where the money is saved. You go after the highest interest rate, you know, that they're charging you, and start paying that off with a vengeance.
With everything.
Yes, exactly.
I
And
had a conversation with my wife, by the way.
yeah, that's great because, and that's the thing, people are in debt, they're usually feeling ashamed, they're feeling embarrassed, they're feeling depressed. Those are very de-energizing energies that just keep you in a place of despair. Like I told you, I want you to get angry at this debt and go after it with a vengeance.
That happened to me because instead of being mad at myself for
Don't do that.
being in the situation that I was,
Yeah.
I mean, we just paid off $98,000 in debt.
That's a
$98,000 in
big
debt.
achievement.
Okay.
Huge.
But instead of being angry at me now,
No, don't.
I realize these guys, if you don't know anything about money, these
Yep.
guys got you. It's like that old saying, gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah.
And once they get you, then, like you say, you're paying off stuff that you really don't care about, but you're locked
Right.
into it. That's what got me pissed off.
Yeah. I think shame, embarrassment, and feeling guilty is okay for a moment of time that it gets you to change your behavior. After that, cut it off and start changing the behavior. And righteous anger towards debt, as far as I'm concerned, that becomes a motivating factor, an energizer for you to go ahead and just get it out of your life.
Well, my tagline is, if you do absolutely nothing is going to get done.
That's
so
very true.
I had to sit there. I mean, really, folks, I'm telling you the truth. I've been to 2 of his classes, and as I listened to what he's talking about, I'm thinking about my own tagline. If I do absolutely nothing, then absolutely nothing's going to change. I started really putting that on me because of James Porter and also you. And you both said, you have to change your thinking. And I'm a biblical guy, so that means I got 2 witnesses telling me the Father saying you got to change your thinking. Okay? Now, as you outline all this stuff, you say investing advice. What does that do for the person who's kind of trying to refigure all this out? What are you offering?
I think when it comes down to investments, I think that if you don't deal with the debt that is really
you can't invest.
No, it's like trying to take a ship out of the harbor while the anchor is still in the rocks, and you're trying to get out of there. That debt, if there's 29% debt, there is no investment on the planet, I can promise you, that you'd make 29% in a year on. So that right there, you need.
They did.
Huh?
They do.
Who? Well, yeah, they do. Then we do it voluntarily. Yeah, exactly.
When you think about this, it's crazy.
It is, but you know what? This is why the masses are under this financial pressure and de-energized. There's nothing worse about going into an older period of time in your life being out of money and out of energy. That is the worst. That's insult to injury.
Yeah,
and so, like with my coaching, I say, look, we got 3 trimesters in life: 0 to 30, 30 to 60, and 60 to 90. You and I happen to be in that last trimester. And the things that we do from 0 to 30, that's when we're going to have our most energy. That's when we are going to charge quickly. Our battery's going to discharge a lot slower, and we're going to have to make some hay when the hay is sunny, and we're going to make some investments, plant some trees, plant some seedlings, all these different things. And then, and then those will start growing as we're moving along. We hit 30 to 60. We're going to realize, man, my battery takes a little longer to charge. It's discharging a little quicker. And you know what? Okay, at least I started planting trees earlier. So you keep moving along. You realize at 60 to 90, you want to have something saved up. You want to have orchard that you planted a long time ago, a diversified orchard, just in case one of your fruit, it's a bad year in one of the crops. That is ultimately the quintessential way to approach this. The young people today have an opportunity to start planting their seedlings.
Yeah, but here's the problem with the younger generation. Their attention span is 6 minutes long.
Yeah, that's reason why that is. It's the internet. Everything is instantaneous. Everything, and you're right. But I think that, like, I got my kids on my program, and they're doing really well. I'm really happy for them. They are doing very well. And so I believe that we as parents have that obligation to really teach our kids. What's that old saying? You teach them, you give a man a fish, you feed him for the day, but you teach them to fish, you feed them for their life. Right. It's so true. I not only taught my kids how to fish, but I showed them where to fish, and I give them the equipment to fish. So they are set up to be able to get their own fish, and I think that's very important. We all know how to earn money, but we don't know how to make money earn for us.
Right.
And that's the important part. When you're out working hard, when I was working at UPS and I was schlepping boxes and everything else till dark 30, I had my money in other areas working for me while I was out working for it. And that gave me the ability to go ahead and retire at 56, and I have a pension at UPS, which was really nice. But, but I also had other investments that I don't get touched to this day that will sustain me going on to my older years.
So I think the thing that really was kind of got me stuck was I'm sitting here in my mid 60s now, and I'm thinking, okay, I can't work forever.
No,
but most people that I know don't have any savings.
No, I know.
They don't have, and I'm talking about business people that don't have. And I did, but things went You know, I
You
mean,
had a lot of things. You had your health.
I
you
had
a
the
lot of
cancer.
things.
I had, I had all the
Yeah.
medical stuff. I had the I mean, I could blame all that stuff. But what I realized is that even if the United States government collapses,
Mhm.
I still need to learn how to manage money.
Absolutely.
Because I was feeling like we're $36 trillion in debt.
Yeah.
Why bother?
No.
And then my old thing
I
was,
love that.
if you do absolutely nothing,
Yep.
nothing's going to change. So I had to take my mind off of that
Yeah.
and go, well, what can I do right now? Right now.
Absolutely. And that's empowering to you. You ever heard of the word nihilism?
Yes.
Nihilism is one of those things. What the hell?
Why bother?
Yeah. Why bother with anything? And the truth
I'm
is,
getting there.
no, I know. I think a lot of people are. I think a lot of people are looking at what's going on in our society and when people are struggling and everything else. They're feeling nihilistic.
Well, now you started these seminars. I want to talk a little bit about those before we go to the next part. This is new for you.
It is, yeah, very much so. I did my first 6-minute presentation at Ignite You, and I was nervous as all get out.
I was there.
Yeah, and 80 people probably were there, and I spoke in front of them, and it was I was scared to death, and my mouth was dry. I mean, I was, but I got good feedback, and that was probably the impetus for me it was coming the beginning of me starting to really get out of my comfort zone and reach out, because I believe this for people. It's been burning in my gut to get this out to people. People can use this. Even Jeff, even the state of Washington had a law in place to introduce financial literacy into our school system, and it got shot down. I just cannot believe that. I'm like, even if it was hard to implement or whatever, that would have been something that would have been a must-have. I'd have made it happen because it's needed.
Well, I joined your class, and tell the folks a little bit about your seminars. What is the goal behind them? Right now, you've got 4 courses.
Right. The 4, and the reason why they started up, the first one was mindset. Because if you come in with a mindset, there's several mindsets. You got the abundant mindset, you got the scarcity mindset, you got the avoidance mindset, you got, they're all over the place. And you have to really kind of take a deep look at your own mindset and if you think money is scarce and it's hard to come by, you're going to be behaving that way. And guess what? Money will do exactly what you see it through your own lens will do. And it's just huge. So anyways, I go from mindset to debt, to looking at debt and how debt impacts our lives and how we need to get rid of it. And then I move to a spending plan that I call Money on Tap, which is a phenomenal spending plan that works with any income. And if you operate, it's kind of like your indoor plumbing. You're a plumber, and you know that in order for plumbing to work, you have to work within the laws of water. And, we got vapor locks. You have to have, all these different things that you do as a plumber to keep water flowing properly, right? Well, money works a lot of the same ways. And it's really cool when you just accept the fact that money and water go hand in hand. Think about it. Cash flow, dilution of shares, liquidity, making it rain. I mean, all of the words and terms that are pointing towards water. I had an epiphany, and it was powerful. And so anyways, that's where I developed Money on Tap. And it works even within, do you understand it? Even within the stock market and the way money never leaves planet Earth.
Right.
It just changes pockets. That's all it's doing. But you want to make sure it's more coming into your pocket than going out. And that's how you structure your spending and your investing, that sort of thing. And it works flawlessly. It's really, I'm excited about getting this out to the public. I want everybody to have Money on Tap and enjoy the benefits from that.
Well, you absolutely, one of the things that attracted me to you was you command your knowledge, your wisdom on this. It's not something you're making up as you go along.
Oh no, I've got so much. I've gone so far into this rabbit hole as far as this goes. I wanted to know money for what it really is. Money gets a bad rap. It gets a bad rap. The scripture says the love of money is the root of all evil. George Bernard Shaw.
That's actually not in there, but
yeah. But then you got Bernard.
Right,
exactly. The lack of money could be the root of all evil too.
Right.
And so, try not to love it, try not to lack it. Really respect it and appreciate it.
There was a lady who stood up. She's got the 2 boys. I can't think of her name.
Oh yeah, Catherine.
She stood up, and I have profound respect for her, primarily because she's a single mom raising those 2 boys, and they're young.
And she's a good mom. She's
a good lady. But she stood up and said, she gave you a glowing compliment. I went, She actually, so I've been sitting there watching. I mean, I go to Ignite You for my company, okay? The company that I work for. But I go there. But I'm learning from so many people.
Absolutely.
There's so much there. And I'm really not, if you want to come to Ignite you want to come and see what it is, just get in touch with me. My information, my phone number is going to scroll across the bottom of the screen. But I listened to your presentation, and then I listened to, she's been involved with asking you to help her. And she was, I could hear the sincerity at how something changed.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the first person to admit when I'm wrong. Okay.
I'm quick to do that as well.
I do. It just senses that.
That's free. Yeah.
Maybe not so much about marriage sometimes, but but I realized, Jeff, you never learned how to do this. I didn't have a dad. There was no male figure in my life showing me how to do this. And so I realized, if there's anybody you're going to blame for the situation that you've gotten yourself into, and I want to stress to you guys, I don't have any extra cash, but we're not getting ready to live under a bridge. I just don't have any extra money. But I realized nobody taught me this.
Yeah.
I didn't learn this in high school.
No.
I learned how to write a check.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah.
But nobody taught me how to do this. And I went, okay, so I don't really have to blame myself. I can simply say, it's time for you to teach yourself.
Right.
Or get somebody to help you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It shows a lot of humility on your part. I know I've been humbled big time in the presence of other people that know way more about this stuff than I do. And I've been taught by other multimillionaires. They poured into me. Nobody succeeds alone. Nobody's independently wealthy. That just makes me crazy. We are interdependently wealthy. And you know what? Once you get money right now, for most people, money is a zero-sum game. That means somebody wins and you lose. As soon as you break that cycle and the reality of that, wealth is an ever-expanding pie. And when you are doing business with people that are really just good-hearted, hardworking people that are wealthy and everything else, you're going to create win-win situations. And those are the most beautiful things on the planet, is when you realize that, it's not us against them. You just need to have the mindset to go in and know that your money is as good as any millionaire's. You just got to spend it that way.
Well, my my website blog is Free from Fear. Okay.
I love that. Yeah.
Well, I realized that one of the things that was hampering my ability to learn something new was because I was afraid of catastrophic events. And the thing about catastrophic events, they happen. They happen. Get yourself in a situation where when that happens, it's not too late. Instead of being afraid of them happening, get yourself in a situation so that you can at least maneuver through it, should it happen, because we never know when something bad is going to hit us.
Absolutely.
My friend, I was at a memorial yesterday. Greatest guy, good friend. He goes to the doctors and he finds out him and his wife are getting ready to sell their house, downsize, move out here. Okay, he's worked his whole life. He goes to the doctors and they say to him, "You got 2 days to live."
Yeah.
Maybe 14.
Yeah.
Okay, he died 15 days later. And I sit here and I go, well, that's catastrophic. But as long as you can breathe, you can do.
Jeff, years ago, I was at Starbucks. I'd always, when I was driving for UPS, that's where I'd go and get my coffee and take my lunch break. And there was two ladies behind me. And one of them was talking about how her husband had died and she was living on very meager income, just Social Security and whatnot. And so in my mind's eye, I'm kind of in front of them and they're behind me. So I'm here. So automatically in my mind, I made a decision that I was going to buy their drinks for them or whatever, their pastries or whatever, just what I did. And so anyways, for whatever reason, this came out of my mind. And I just said this to her. I said, what if I can prove to you right now you're worth about $8 million? And she goes, you couldn't do that. I said, let me put it this way. I know a blind billionaire right now who would trade you your eyes for $5 million right now, but you have to take his position and be blind but you'll have $5 million. Oh, well, no, I would never do that. I said, there's $5 million right there that you are worth. I said, how about this? There's a paraplegic in there that's a multimillionaire. He'll give you 2 million or 3 million for your use of your legs, but you have to switch places with them. And she goes, oh no, I could never do that. It'd be awful. I said, there's 3 million. There's $8 million I just proved to you that you're worth and you didn't realize. And she started to cry.
Wow.
And then she became very joyful. She goes, I can't believe. And then, of course, I got to finish it off with buying their drinks and everything. It was so, but that was just out of clear blue. That just came to my mind it was like the Holy Spirit or whatever, just kind of said, hey, and
But I'm trying to process this.
it's powerful.
You wait. You give me $5 million, I give you my eyes.
Yeah. Would you take it?
Hmm.
You're thinking about it?
No.
Okay.
No, no.
Right.
But I'm trying to think who would.
Yeah, exactly. But that's where that's where the things that we can't buy with money, we take for granted. Your friend that had,
Oh, I see.
yeah, your friend, you got to find happiness in the simple
I'm
things.
glad you explained that to me because you
And
said
the
this before,
joy,
and I
and
was
the
like,
joy, and
holy
the
cow.
realization, man. My wife said something to me one time, and she made perfect sense after the Indonesia tsunami or whatever. She goes, "You can sure tell the quality of a man's life by the content of his complaints."
yeah,
And I was blown away.
your wife said that to you.
My wife, and that was an original thing that my wife was very wise. She's made me a better man in so many different ways, and she's tolerated me through the years. But anyways, that was very, very powerful. Some people, oh man, I can't believe it. My AC is out in my Mercedes and it's 80 degrees. I'm sweating or whatever. Well, this other man has a child in the hospital that's dying right now. It's like, be careful what you're complaining about.
Right.
It's the things that money can't buy are the things that are most precious.
When I was sitting in the church yesterday for the memorial, I'm looking at the kids. They gave us an opportunity to go up there and speak.
Oh yeah.
I mean, Steve always talked about his kids.
Mm.
We would sit here on the phone for hours, but he always mentioned his children. And when he found out he was gonna, he was terminal, he would call me. He's crying.
Oh.
And the thing that was in his mind, what he said to me, is, "How am I going to tell my kids?"
Oh, yeah.
So I'm sitting here yesterday looking at all of his kids. They said, anybody wants to come up and speak? Well, I went up to speak. And as soon as I opened my mouth, I started bawling.
Oh, I can imagine. I would too.
Because, the love of people for me is just amazing. Yeah. And I'm thinking about my own kids.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking about all the things I didn't teach them about all this. I was too busy working.
Right.
But at the same time, it's not too late. So I'm glad.
No,
I'm glad to be a student.
Absolutely.
Now, let me ask you a question. Have you always been this intense all your life? Because you're an intense person. You have an intense personality.
If you knew my upbringing, you would understand that. I've got a few designations I've got a little PTSD going on. I got a little anxiety disorder going on and that sort of thing, but I try to channel it for good. And you're right. There is, I am. And sometimes it's off-putting to some people and I don't mean bad by it. No,
I'm like that too. I get accused of it all the time. But I was attributed to, I'm from New York and these people out here don't know how to relate to that.
Right. But one thing that I can honestly say with sincere conviction is that you want me on your side.
Yeah.
You want me on
that's
your side.
true.
I will. I will. Yeah. I'm a fighter.
It was easy to believe what you were saying.
Yeah. I'm a fighter. And what I say, I mean, and I'm going to, and I'd rather be thought a fool and keep my mouth shut than open it, confirm it. So that's where I'm at.
Well, we got about 10 minutes left, Alan. And I'm just, number one, I'm really glad that you drove all the way out here.
Hey, man, it's good to be here. It's good to be
here. It was no problem rearranging things.
It was very spontaneous.
Well, yeah. When you said I'd rather do it live, I was like, well, we can make that work.
And you did.
And yeah, I did. It took me 4 hours. But in the last few minutes of what we got going on, what do you really want to get across to both me and my audience?
Money isn't everything, but when it's not there, it becomes almost everything, and when money works as it should in your life, it really does eliminate a lot of other pressures in life, because things happen, life happens, things happen, emergencies happen, all these different things. And to have a little money backup and things like that to take care of those things when they happen, it really does make life a little less stressful. You work so hard for money, and for it not to be there working hard for you is really a travesty, in my opinion.
That really caught my attention. that
Yeah.
I never thought about that.
Yeah.
You know,
It,
all these people putting retirement stuff away. I mean, I got a 401k and all that stuff,
yeah,
and we're going to do some things with that. Thank you.
absolutely.
But I never really thought about it. In all the years that I worked my butt off,
Yeah.
every crawl space I've been in, every
Oh,
kitchen sink I've been under,
yeah.
I never really thought about these years
Yeah.
because they weren't here yet.
Well, here's the thing too. You know, one thing that I'm guilty of, I think that when I was working at UPS and people that knew me at UPS, I was intense. And it was stressful. It was really stressful for me because I wasn't a natural, I didn't have a natural sense of direction. So all the routes that I was being assigned to was really difficult for me to learn and to get them done in time. But anyways, I just realized that, you know, you're working hard for money and you're trying to do the best you can by taking care of your family. But one of the things that I got carried away with, I was always looking for the future. I was always in anxiety. I was basically being motivated by my own anxiety, trying to make sure the family's taken care of, making sure that I can retire when I want to, all these different things that I missed the moments for my kids. And I wish I would have done more, even small vacations
I
with them
understand that.
and that sort of thing, and enjoyed. My wife was a flight attendant at the time. We could have done some flight, but I was really uptight and stressed out about things. And I wish I'd have had a more balanced perspective on it, you know, and lived a little better because, you know, you never know what's going to happen. You just don't know. And don't think that you want to save everything for retirement either. You want to live in the moment. So yeah, take that one dime out of every dollar you earn, just one dime at an early age out of every dollar you earn, save it, invest it, and put it in the SPY, which is the S&P 500 index, and you'll do just fine. Just set it and forget it. Keep put money into it, and you'd be surprised at how much money shows up in your account after 30 years, 40 years. It's amazing. So I just wish I would have planned more of living in the moments and enjoying the moments. My kids grew up before me, and I didn't really get a chance to see it.
And I understand that because I was working.
Yeah.
You know, I was running from the restaurants to the plumbing company. When I started the plumbing company, I was gone. I mean, I
bet. I couldn't imagine. You know what? I've always taken the easier roads. I think I was in the Army for 4 years. The economy was really bad in 1980. Well, I joined in 83. The economy was terrible. So at 2 years of college, I joined the Army, went in the Army for 4 years, came out, I got 3 hots and a cot, you know, and then I came out and immediately, you know, enrolled in college and then went to UPS and started working part-time. The entrepreneur spirit is really incredible to me. I see how hard it is to start a business from scratch. I've been trying my real estate as well as my financial coaching. It's not easy. You think that you're just going to get your license and they're going to show up. That ain't the truth. So
well, my story was I was a 17-year-old kid and I came out here to literally escape New York. I didn't want to grow up in New York. I certainly didn't want to grow up in the area that I grew up. We were poor.
Yeah.
Didn't have a lot of money. Mom turned her life around and things were changing, but I went away to school. And then I got out of the school and I came out here and I was like, okay, what am I going to do? I'm 17 years old. So I too went in the Navy. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And then when I got out of the Navy, New York was not a place to return to. I came back here. Now, here's the thing. Everything that I learned from that moment forward, nobody taught me.
Wow.
I had some people that helped me.
School of hard knocks.
But yeah, it was hard. It was very difficult. And then, you know, I had some tragedies in my life and that kind of short-sighted me. But I decided, well, I'm an entrepreneur. Let me start a company. And so I did that. But I didn't have anybody teaching me I had no male figure showing me anything. So I wouldn't wish that on anyone. I wouldn't tell a 17-year-old kid, hey, go 3,000 miles away from home and make a life for yourself, unless it was wagon trains and Indians, okay?
Yeah.
Now, what would you say to the 25-year-old, and we're going to wrap up the show with this, what would you say to the younger generation and also to the older generation? I want to give you a minute. You got a few minutes to talk about both.
Okay.
You got 5 minutes. What would you say to the young kid, 20, 25 years of age?
Well, if you're not meant for college, then learn a trade. That would be one of the biggest things because your income is your biggest wealth building tool. Your income will be your biggest wealth building tool. That's where you can go out and start spending money to make money. And so, anyways, if you're not going to go to college, and don't get caught up into consumerism, all the stuff that they're pushing you is just, it's like crack cocaine. It's not, it feels good for the moment, but then the long lasting debt that follows and the regret, you notice debt and regret seem to go hand in hand. Yeah. So, and then just give yourself a little, just one dime out of every dollar you earn. Invest it. Oh, go to Vanguard, go to Fidelity, open up an account and pick the SPY. That's the Standard & Poor's 500 index, and religiously put money in there every single time you get paid. And, you know, if you got a 401k match, if you're working for somebody, get that match. Also look at opening a Roth IRA, because the Roth IRA is a great wealth building tool and it's tax free.
I got to say to the young person, don't do what I did.
Yeah.
Learn what this man is telling you. You can go to his website, financialstreetsmart.com, and learn how to do this so that you're not in the situation 40 years from now. Because let me tell you something, 25-year-old, you're going to be 40 years old faster than you were 25.
Oh boy, that is so true.
So
that
you
is so
really,
true.
and I really mean this.
Yeah.
Now, to the person like me, worked his butt off.
Mm-hmm.
We're in our
you still got a little butt.
We don't have, we don't. Thank you. I don't like back. Person like me, a mother, single mother, struggling, didn't put anything away. Why would she be a good candidate to come take your seminar?
I think the little changes that occur, you'll start to become money conscious. You'll start to realize that, you can do more with less. And you do that and you start, we got to have hope. You got to have hope.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Hope deferred makes the heart sick. And if you're, like we talked about nihilism, it's good to know that, you can start making positive changes now that can affect you 5, 10, even 2 years down the road. You can start to be alleviated from that, because the weight of debt, the mental and just physical weight on us is terrible. And then, start to do different things with your money and start saving a little bit, even if it's $5 here, become aware of your spending and things that you don't really need. And become aware of how you're feeling in the moment. Because a lot of times we just want to feel better in the moment because we're depressed, and we call it retail therapy. Catch yourself and then take that one thing that was going to take you to a bad behavior and then put it into a savings account, and then start to shift the whole dynamic from a negative experience to more of a positive one.
And you're not recommending a savings account?
No. I mean, money market account, maybe a high yielding savings account, but to start with. And then to systematically what they call dollar cost average into the market to investments and stuff like that. And hit up with somebody with your family. If you got somebody that knows money, they're successful, ask them for their guidance. And I think that they'd be really happy to help you, because, you don't have to do this alone. You really don't.
The next class is when? January
4th. And it's the Money on Tap class. And that's the one that works really, really well, kind of like indoor plumbing for your money. And it works with any income. And it's a very powerful, because it's tapped into the laws of nature. If we learn more from nature, we're going to know more about everything. And I believe that.
Well, folks, let me tell you something. This is a good, solid man. He's been in my home today. I've been in his home. I've learned a lot in a very short period of time. I've actually diverted monies, and I'm waiting for things to happen so I can do even more other than a 401k. And I've never been a savings account bank person. But Alan Collins, I want to thank you for coming. Coming all the way out here, number one, and doing this live with me. That was really fun. This has been fun.
It's been awesome.
And he walked in the door with this great big plant for my family. My wife poinsettia. That really touched her heart. I got to tell you that.
Good.
So,
may I say one thing too, Jeff?
Yeah, go ahead.
Support this guy. This guy's got a heart of platinum. He wants to reach out. He wants to make the world a better place. Let's support him in his business. This let's talk about it. It's an awesome, not motivated by other, outside interests. This is just for the good of humanity. And you know what? Let's support this guy. I know I'm supporting him, and he could use it, because he's spending all of his money to do all this and his time, and he's doing great things. So
I appreciate you saying
absolutely.
Venmo or Zelle.
Money love. Just a little money love.
Number going across. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. For those of you who are going to watch this and the recorded version, appreciate you tuning in. Alan, again, thank you for coming all the
Thank
way out
you,
here.
man.
Appreciate you.
You
And
bet.
that's it, folks. We are out of here. If you want to know more about Alan Collins and what he offers, go to his website and contact him.
Definitely.
And I encourage you, especially if nobody's ever told you, make your money work for you first. This is Jeff. Let's talk about it. Have a great holiday.